This video is brought to you by me. Just me. I mean, seriously, you think anybody's gonna pay me to make this? How's it going, everybody? So today I decided I wanted to build a steam box. Steam box is designed to penetrate a long piece of wood with steam so that you can bend it, and then when everything dries out, you'll end up with a piece that holds that shape, whatever shape you end up bending it in. As it normally goes, I didn't like any of the designs I found online or the ones I saw on YouTube. I didn't find them to be very efficient. Most of the time people just build a wooden box or they use a piece of PVC or something like that, but there's problems with all of that. You lose a lot of your heat out of the side of the box, and my goal in this project was to try to maintain as much of that temperature and pressure as possible. So what I ended up doing was creating kind of this two-walled system where I had a wall on the inside of the box, and then I had the box on the outside, and I also used some insulation in the corners so that I would hold as much of that temperature as possible. So here's the problem as I see it. Most of the time when you build a steam box, you build it with something like this, which is just a wooden box. You usually put screws into the top just to kind of seal everything up. That's to allow for the expansion, because you're going to get expansion and contraction with this, so you don't want to glue too much of this. So normally it's just installed with screws. The problem with just having a box like this is you have a lot of your temperature radiating to the outside of this, and you're losing a lot of your temperature, which makes it less efficient. It's going to be a lot harder to get your wood permeated the way it needs to be. And so what I've decided to do is, instead of just doing a single chamber or a single liner, you put something like this in here. I built this so that it would perfectly fit with a steel pipe. This is just a piece of stovepipe that I found, and the idea is that I'm going to fill it with these. I bought 2 of these cans, and I believe that'll be enough based on the volume, but I had to figure out how much volume I was going to end up needing for these corners. Mostly I'm just going to fill up these corners and then flip it over, and I can unscrew these and fill the other 2 corners. Hopefully that will give me a much more efficient heat source. There you go. How is that? Is that okay? Are you okay? Why are you sticking your tongue out, Tubby? Here you go. Hi, no, stay there. I'm drilling. I have to run a drill. You want to help? Hello. Yeah? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, hold the box for me. Okay. Okay. Trampoline break! Hey, are you coming? Are you coming? Oh! Let's go! Bounce!
What's this, Daddy?
What?
I can do a triangle jump.
Go for it!
Ah!
Cool! Now what?
Ah!
Ow! So one of the most important parts of the steam box would be the door. Right here, I had decided I wanted to use a solid block of wood, which turned out to be a very bad idea. This thing, because of the way the grain is oriented, ended up pretty much potato chipping on me. One of the best things you could use would be something like plywood. As long as you're talking about an external grade, something that can handle a little bit of moisture, that would be good. What I ended up using was alternating the grains of a couple of pieces, one biomaterial. But you want to make sure you have a good latch and a couple of good hinges on the door. A couple of years ago, I bought this cheap steamer specifically for this project. I've been waiting to do this project for a long time. So about 2 years ago, I bought this really cheap steamer for about $35 on Amazon. It came from some Korean company, don't know who it was, but it seemed like a much cheaper option than buying some of the more expensive purpose-built steamers for steam boxes. At this point in time, I had no idea whether or not it was going to work, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. So there are 3 main holes you have to drill in the box: an inlet, an outlet, and a drain hole. The inlet obviously lets in the steam. The outlet is important because if you don't let the steam out in some way, you're basically creating a pipe bomb. You have to make sure that the steam is let out in some way, otherwise you will end up blowing something. And depending on how well you built the box and how strong your steamer is, that can become very dangerous. You don't want steam bursting out at you randomly. Trust me, I burned myself a couple of times during this project. It was no fun. The last hole you have to drill is the drain hole. Because the box is set at an angle, you're going to accumulate water on one side of the steam box, and you have to make sure that it lets out, otherwise you're going to fill up your steam box with water over time. You don't want that sitting on your wood, you don't want it sitting on anything you're working with. So drill a hole at the bottom of your box to make sure it drains out. When it came time to place the box, I decided I wanted to put it underneath a bench rather than put it on top of the bench so it wouldn't waste too much space. When I placed it underneath the bench, I decided to hang it at about a 5-degree angle or so that all the water would drip down into the back.
You gonna come help me?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need.
Oh yeah, look, we gotta put these in. Let's see, this goes like this. Watch your head.
Ellie, don't chew on screws, please. Now, no matter what, you are going to end up with some condensation on the inside of the pipe, and so the idea is you want your wood to be kind of set up towards the center of the pipe. So what I'm doing here is I'm drilling through the box a number of times so I can place dowels every foot or so. It doesn't matter if it's a foot or 2 feet or whatever, but the more you have, the more support there will be, so it really just depends on how many holes you want to drill. But the idea is to get the wood up and off of the inner wall. My first intention was to use a bucket to refill the main chamber or the main tank of the steamer. That way I wouldn't have to fill it every hour or so. So I bought a few fittings that took me way too long to install, and by the time I got them set up, I ran into a few other issues, but I'll get into that in a second. So here's the part that I've been thinking about the last couple of days. I can get my fitting through there, which is just fine, and I could even get the gasket on. Problem is there's a nut that has to be on the inside. Yes, I'll use that later, baby. Here you go. This, obviously, is not going to fit through there, so I think what I need to do is I'm going to cut a slot in the back, enough where I can jam this in there, and I'll have to finagle the thing on the inside. Going to be a little bit of a ship in a bottle situation going on, but I should be able to finagle it on there, along with the gasket. I'll use some sealant on the outside of this one, and then I'll probably put some glue and maybe some sealant on the outside. I may have to sand it down because this sits flush inside the Hi, thank you. Yes, that's the part I need. See that one? That one goes here. But we can't put that on yet. We need it. Okay, so then I'll put some, I'll put some glue on and see if I can seal that hole back up. So there we go. Okay, Eddie, you're gonna have to back up just a little. There we go, and we just slide that in there. Might as well put that in there as well. And then when we're done, we will glue that together. There we go. Okay, this should just slide right on there. Okay. And then we can fit this in here. Yeah, there it is. And that just goes there. You can fill this down with water. This should be about there, and there's no kinks. That is beautiful. There we go. Okay, it's leaking very badly. Okay, I'm running into a little bit of a problem here. This is leaking like crazy. You can see all of the connections that I made are fine. Everything is wet because everything's been leaking. I've been messing with it. My sealant, everything I've sealed up is working just fine. There's no leaks. Okay, maybe a tiny leak. There's no real leaks out of the machine. If I wanted to, I could seal this up a little bit better, and then all the dripping would end. Here's the problem. As soon as I put this on there and it starts to fill up, that is coming out of the connection in the machine. That's not my seam. Ah, jeez. What a mess. So this steamer is not going to work. The way this is supposed to work is this thing here gets depressed when you put it down. But for some reason the machine fills up and it just starts squirting out. I thought maybe at first it was because I had all the water coming from the bucket. Maybe it was too much pressure, so I emptied the bucket, but it still happens. It still just pops out, and I don't know what's going on. It's the machine. It never had that problem before. I ran it just fine. So I'm going to have to rethink this. So let me think about this for a little bit and I'll come back. Okay, so I went online and the only box that I could find that actually seems to be to work well with steamers is going to cost me about 80 bucks. Rockler sells a really good steam box steamer. So instead, before I do that and spend all that money, I'm going to try and see if I can just glue this plastic deal into here so that there's no breakage. So this is just going to be permanently affixed. If this doesn't work, this is going to go in the trash and I'm just going to spend the money on a proper steamer. So we're going to do the same thing with this. I'm just going to put one bead around everything. We're going to put this right there, and we're going to jam it in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and seal up the rest of this. Okay, so it's been a few days. Just to recap what's going on here, I've decided just to glue the tank into place. I have a hose running directly to it, so I don't have to refill it every hour. It should be good for maybe 5 or 6 hours of steam. So what I did is I used silicone sealant on all of the surfaces around the main port, and then I used silicone sealant along the seam, and then all of this white stuff here is 2 layers of construction adhesive, just kind of for added security, and then I duct tape the thing on because there's a bit of an upward pressure when the water's pushing down. So this tank's going to want to come up just a little bit, and I don't want any cracks anywhere. So I just put some duct tape around there for good measure. Hopefully that'll be enough to actually get this steam box working. If not, otherwise I'm going to end up having to spend the money on the proper steamer. Okay, I have everything unplugged just in case I make a mess with the water again. Yep, there you go. Okay. It's flowing into the tank. Let me go ahead and put this in. It's not leaking. Let's see what happens. That's not how that's supposed to work. This isn't working. I'll be right back. It's in here. It's that thing. Just shake. All right, thanks. All right, so it's about a week later again, and I've given up. I bought the Rockler Steam bending steamer. This is specifically designed for steam boxes. So hopefully I can actually get this thing up and running, and I can actually start my project today. Hose, steamer. This is supposed to give you 2 hours of steam. I believe they said 2 hours. Provides 130 minutes. This will give you 130 minutes, so that's just over 2 hours. That's pretty good. I don't want that. I don't want that. Hey, look! Proper fittings. Now I don't have to make my own. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this thing on. Oh, that's for a steam box. They give you parts for a steam box, too, if you ever are going to build your own steam box. Ideally, this is what I would have started with, but whatever. I already had the parts that I used anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and throw this on, and let's get it started. Okay, the plans don't call for this, but I decided to put a washer on here because the previous hole that I drilled was not the right size. It was for the other steamers. So we're going to put a little bit of silicone on here, make sure we get a nice good connection, and then go ahead and fit it right where I had the other. All right, there we go. Beautiful. Unfortunately, there's no switch, so you turn it on just by plugging it in. I'll have to figure something out, maybe put a switch on there later. But that'll happen at a later date. Oh! It's doing a thing! It's doing what it was designed to do! No way! Ha 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 ha! Alright. Put you there. Put you there. Well, thanks for watching. This is definitely a must-do project for anybody who's interested in woodworking, but I will tell you that you shouldn't start the project unless you're willing to be patient. Learning steam bending is one of the most difficult woodworking processes that I've ever tried to tackle. Between all of the trial and error that I had to go through to just build the steam box is nothing compared to what I've been trying to go through recently, trying to figure out how to actually bend the wood. So it's definitely not a project that's for the faint of heart. You definitely have to have some patience to be able to do this. So my next couple of weeks that I'm going to be spending working with this steamer is probably going to be trying to figure out how to keep all of my wood from doing this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you all next time.